Internet and citizens of Reject Nation, welcome back to another exciting episode of Koi's Comic Corner. I am slightly healed. The voice is coming back. I am no longer quite the voice of Doom, but slightly the voice of Doom. This episode is very special because we're going to talk about the entirety of Phase 5 going into 6 and how I think Victor Von Doom is going to be implemented in a number of these properties, and in fact, the big bad, not necessarily Kang, but Dr. Doom pulling a lot of strings. We're going to get to all of that, but before we do, please leave a comment, subscribe, let us know you love us. I want to read these comments. I've been enjoying them. And speaking of which, a lot of you asked about these shirts, the tie-dye shirts I wear. Box Lunch Gifts, the good folks at Box Lunch clad me in this beautiful wear. Tell them I sent you. And speaking of amazing comments I've been enjoying reading, thank you to everyone who has followed me on TikTok. You guys have been amazing. There's 15-second to 3-minute videos over there. A lot like what I do here, but in bite-sized little morsels. If you think 20 minutes is too long, you got 20-second options. Get on over to my TikTok, and thank you to everyone who has. All right, let's get into it. So before we get into Doom himself, Kevin Feige has confirmed that Fantastic Four is in fact not an origin story, and that ties beautifully into how I think they're going to implement Doom. Because I think, honestly, Doom is our way into the Fantastic Four, and I think that is really interesting. We've seen lots and lots of these movies where the heroes bring us the villain. We haven't really seen a villain bring us heroes. And I think those origins are going to be tied together really beautifully, and we're going to be laying a lot of seeds throughout an entire phase in the beautiful way that we had Thanos set up through post-credit scenes, through little Easter eggs, through tie-ins, leading up to getting him in Infinity War. Let's go the other way. Let's use Dr. Doom to lead us towards the kickoff of Phase 6 with Fantastic Four. Now, how do I think we'll get there? First of all, we get the knowledge that there is likely, and this is a rumor for now, but we'll see, a post-credit scene featuring Dr. Doom in Wakanda Forever. That film is out this year. That is the conclusion of Phase 4. What better way to conclude a phase than by kicking off your new villain? You have a post-credit scene. You set up through the film. It looks like we're going to have two nations at war. We've got the Wakandans against the Atlanteans. So it looks like we're going to have a lot of the trailer, good God. We're going to have a lot of stunning imagery between these two rival nations. But if you're expanding the world geopolitically, if you're making something as politically savvy as the first Black Panther or further, you're going to have other nations. And what better way to bring in Doom than by having Doom look at the weakness of whatever culture he's seeing? What snarky way to have him introduced than by saying like, oh, these people have fallen, it's time for me to, use my power, or just a commentary on all of these metahumans, these overpowered beings clashing. I think Latveria is introduced at the very end of Black Panther, and I think our post-credit scene setting up Phase 5 is Doom. That's the rumor. That's how I do it. I do think Black Panther is the absolute best way to bring in everything in the geopolitical landscape to come. Now, from there, we're kicking off Phase 5 with Quantumania. This is a great way to kick off Phase 5 because our Phase 5 villain does look to be Kang. Now, I think our multiverse villain is going to be Doom. Now, when you have your Phase 5 villain with Kang, you're introducing him after he's been soft introduced as He Who Remains. We've met Jonathan Majors' He Who Remains in Loki. We saw comic-accurate imagery of Kang, but we haven't met him yet. All of the speeches, that beautiful Shakespearean delivery in episode 6 of Loki was about how he's not the worst of them. He's protected them. He's arguably the good guy of the Kangs. We're about to meet the real Kang in Ant-Man Quantumania. Now, I was fortunate enough to see the Ant-Man trailer at Hall H. We do see Kang in all of his glory, and he is powerful, he is intimidating. And I think throughout Quantumania, this is a film that takes place largely in the quantum realm. We're going to see a lot more time elements. We're going to see a lot more reality and time manipulation, which is what Kang is about, which is going to set the precedent for where Phase 5 goes. But throughout that, I think we're going to be having slight hints at Doom or someone that might be working with Kang. I think sometimes in the comics, Doom and Kang are simpatico for their greater good. I think where Kang controls time, Doom might control space, as in physical land. I think these two are going to be collaborative, and I'm not sure if Doom will physically show up in Quantumania, but I would almost guarantee elements of Quantumania will relate to Dr. Doom as we kick off Phase 5. Now, Secret Invasion. This is our big paranoid thriller. This one is a TV show that looks like the most espionage elements of Winter Soldier, bringing us back to that grounded reality. What better way to worry about the world being invaded by aliens and the paranoia of are our heroes who we say they are than by bringing in a dictator? I think this is the first time we see him again. I think after the post-credit scene, we might now again see Doom in his full glory. I don't know how much screen time, I don't know how big of a presence, but I think while we're seeing the world expand, as we're seeing the not just New York, we're no longer in phase 1, as we're seeing everything in the MCU get more and more global, I think a great way to show Latveria again, and a great way to show the power that Doom wields, setting just again, we're still at like level 1 of breadcrumbs, using Doom as an I would do that differently, as Doom being a certain element of power and terror at a faraway land again as this expands to a worldwide secret invasion. So now we've met Doom 2, maybe 3 times at this point, and that's great because it's a lot like the comic books. A lot of the time Doom is pulling the strings from behind doors and he's in a few frames, but his presence is felt. The important thing about Doom is that he's just so imposing and he's got a ness, for lack of a better term. He is always authoritative and terrifying. Now I think we get to see where he comes from. I personally would utilize his mother in the Agatha show. His mother was a witch. The powerful thing about Doom is he's as smart as Reed, but he also wields magic. There's a lot of superheroes that are very overpowered, but magic is their, for lack of a better term, kryptonite. Doom wields both science and magic. If you remember back to Thor, Thor is talking about how magic is just science you can't explain yet. I think Agatha brings that to play. We've got chaos magic already established in WandaVision. We've got what corruption that does already established. What if Doom and Doom's mother wield a form of chaos magic? What if Agatha knows Doom's mama? What if all of that comes in here and we see the birth of the concept of Victor Von Doom, if not Victor Von Doom as a child himself, launching us through time, bringing us to adult Doom in a more established way by this point in phase 5. Now, here we are with New World Order. The world distrusts heroes because of Secret Invasion and because of the things I think set up in Ms. Marvel with Department of Damage Control, leading to Thunderbolts. The world doesn't know what to do with this new era of hero. Now, in the Sam Wilson Captain America comic books, people don't like Sam Wilson wielding the shield, much like trolls on the internet don't like Sam Wilson wielding the shield. We live in a tempestuous world in our reality and in the MCU's reality. People like to let chaos weaken nations. People like to let instability cause rifts in power. I think Doom, maybe not as much as he's in Agatha, but I think Doom might be implemented here as someone that's trying to use the weakness of a world fighting itself, which I do think is going to come into play in New World Order. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this film leads into Thunderbolts. I think the events at the end of New World Order, with an instability, with a nation fighting itself, with a rivalry between heroes and the public, all of these things, it's time for Doom to want to take over power. And I think there's going to be a lot of elements of him between this and Thunderbolts. And from there, from Thunderbolts, I think we go right into Fantastic Four. Now, the Thunderbolts are a bunch of heroes that are actually villains. They're playing as heroes to manipulate the public. I'm wondering if Doom will literally be the Norman Osborn of this world. What if instead of Norman Osborn, a Sony character that has often led the Thunderbolts, what if it's literally a villain manipulating things? Now, we do have Baron Zemo, and Baron Zemo is the original leader of the Thunderbolts. I would actually prefer they use Baron Zemo. I think Daniel Bruhl is fantastic. But if they don't, Doom's a cool option. Now, as far as Fantastic Four, we now know it's not an origin movie. So we're going from Thunderbolts ending the phase 5 into Fantastic Four kicking off as of now, as of what we know, phase 6. What if that conclusion, what if that cliffhanger is an Avengers level event as the phases have so far ended, and then we kick off with things in disarray, things in chaos? What if Doom has met the Fantastic Four because he was scarred in the accident that caused them, but we meet them through knowing more about this character than them? Now, we might throughout phase 5 meet Sue or Reed or even Human Torch or Ben Grimm. There's rumors that Ben Grimm is popping up very soon. But if we've got sprinkles of them leading up to their team up movie, that's a better way to build them, like the Avengers, right? Like, remember, we had individual movies of these characters, then the Avengers. What if we meet them and we kind of sympathize with Doom? What if there's some empathy for this character because we've met him as a child in Agatha, because we see how he wants to rule his kingdom. We maybe even see how his people love them. Now, obviously, he's a fascist, he's a dictator, but that hasn't stopped Americans from loving dictators before. You heard me. That might be the interesting way to go into Fantastic Four, with some empathy for Doom being conflicted by the Fantastic Four in their first team movie. And that brings us to the Kang Dynasty. Now, this phase, I've focused on Doom. There's going to be a lot of Kang in it too, but I'm focusing on Doom for this video, and that's important for this movie. I think with Kang Dynasty, we've basically had 2 villains running things in phase 5, and that's really fun. If that's accurate, I think it's going to be a really interesting way to differentiate the Multiverse Saga from the Infinity Saga, because we've had a phase 5-led Kang, but now a phase 6-led Doom. And I think while the dynasty of Kang is running through time, chasing his love, manipulating reality by way of time travel, and causing havoc throughout centuries of problems for centuries of different adventures, I think the way the Kang Dynasty ends is that what we thought might happen at the end of Loki with the TVA and everything exploding, what if reality itself can't handle the amount of manipulation that Kang has caused? What if the Avengers have failed to an even greater level than they failed in Infinity War? What if reality as we know it breaks, and the only person that can keep reality together is Doom, using science and magic, and those Fantastic Four that we just met can't be the heroes they need to be. Doom is the hero keeping the world together and bringing us to Secret Wars. Our villain is also a hero because he wants to rule everything, and he becomes the giant multiversal king of this entire phase 4, 5, and 6, ruling Secret Wars. Now, Secret Wars, I'm gonna just be brief because we could do 10 videos on Secret Wars. But I think Secret Wars is going to be a series of elements that take place in shattered realities. I think all of the people that wanted Multiverse of Madness to be Fox and Sony and different continuity, they might get that with Secret Wars. And I think all of that is going to be held together, like in the comics with Battleworld, by Doctor Doom. Now, Doctor Doom is a very powerful character. I don't know what that's going to mean with manipulating these realities as far as what he wields, but that's why I think there's going to be a Kang and Doom element leading to this. And that's why I think Secret Wars might be literally the biggest movie of all time as far as in this genre. I've been saying it for a little bit that I think where Endgame and Infinity War were the culmination of phases 1 through 3, I honestly think Secret Wars is the culminations of 1 through 6, not just 4, 5, and 6. I think Kang Dynasty is basically 4, 5, and 6. I think Secret Wars is 1 through 6. And I think our biggest bad to date may just be a character that comic fans have wanted for years to be handled correctly. I think we're about to meet him, and I think we're about to be terrified of him throughout this phase, through many different properties for years to come. I think it's about to be Doom season, and I cannot wait. All right, you lovelies, these are just theories. This is conjecture. This is all from reading way too many comic books. Read some comic books. If you want to know which comic books I would recommend for Doom, check out the Doom video on this very channel. I did a whole breakdown of who I'd cast as Doom, why Doom's important, all of those elements, and those are still going to be in my comic recommendations. I love giving you guys comic book recs. Please do check those out, and I promise in the next video I'll give you some fresh new ones. But in the meantime, please do like, subscribe, leave a comment. This video was because a bunch of you said we want to see his Doom video. I am listening, I am reading those, and I do appreciate all of the love. You rejects are lovely. So thank you for having me here. Thank you for sharing this video. I'm seeing these views go up, and it means the world. Also, you guys are watching a fuck ton of this, like a lot of it. I see the length, and it makes me so happy. Please go tell your local comic book store you love them. Tell your mom, give her a hug. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you soon.